UK Prime Minister Theresa May is in Brussels tonight. She's meeting with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker to talk about the UK's future relationship with Europe post-Brexit. But the meeting comes as a string of member states voice their objections to a draft deal. For France, it's about fishing rights. For the Netherlands, it's competitive advantages. And Spain wants assurances about the future of Gibraltar. Here's what the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez had to say about that.
No podemos asumir que lo que vaya a pasar con Gibraltar en el futuro dependa de una negociación del Reino Unido con la Unión Europea. Tendrá que ser algo que definamos y negociemos y acordemos el Reino Unido y España. Por tanto, a día de hoy, lamento decir que un gobierno proeuropeo como es el gobierno de España votará, si no hay cambios, no al Brexit.
Well, joining me to navigate the choppy Brexit waters ahead from the EU27 perspective, we have Christine Bonnefoy, French socialist MEP with the S&D Group, Morten Løkkegaard, a Danish MEP with the ALDE Group, and Ana Lázaro Bosch, who's a Euronews correspondent from our Spanish service. All right, let's talk about, we just heard from the Spanish Prime Minister, let's talk about the French objection to this. Very quickly, can you summarize what does France have against this draft deal?
We want to recall that we need to have access to the sea. So the fishermen, the French, but also the Belgium and the Netherlands could access to these seas and to fish on this. It was part of the deal before, and we want it to be still on action now.
And there are other countries, I think, with all the problems with fisheries as well. The Danish.
Yeah. And Danish also, sorry.
We are in this together, yeah.
Netherlands and Belgium.
So what is the Danish opposition to this?
Yeah, but basically it's both the agriculture industry and the fishermen, because 40% of Danish fish landed in Denmark is from the British waters. So we are very much dependent on we get a good deal on the fishery, and this is. Therefore, it's linked to the negotiation on the divorce deal here.
So we have fish, there are goods, a competitive advantage, and of course, Gibraltar. I mean, first, how big of a deal is this?
It could be a big deal. I think it's possible to find a solution in the next days before Sunday's summit. But it's true that for Spain it's becoming very serious. They really want to have written in the text in some way. They don't say how they want to see it, but they want to see it clear on the text, that Spain will have the right to veto, will be the one who can negotiate with London about the future relations with Gibraltar. So
are we seeing real uncertainty here? Our political editor was saying earlier that the Sunday summit, it could be derailed. Are we seeing a real danger of the rest of the EU27 not being happy with this?
I don't think so, actually. I think this divorce deal, I think most of us will agree to. The point is, of course, taking it up right now is because it's very closely linked to the future deal. And that's why we have to step up efforts now to get this right on the several issues. For instance, fishery, for instance, Gibraltar. I think that the problem right now is get the British on board. That's the main problem. But assuming that they will get on board, I think that the talks about the future will start now, and that's why we're sitting here.
But we say that everybody's on board, but if you remember the fight of fishermen, the British and the French fishermen, that got quite serious. You can't say to the fishermen, well, just get on board and let's just move forward.
No.
Is this serious? How serious is that?
It's very important, but we also have to think about the 3 million of Europeans living in Great Britain. This is also a very big concern for us, not only the French, not only the Social and Democrat, but I think all the members of the European Parliament to take care of the people, not only the question of economics, of single market, of this stuff, but also the people living now in Great Britain, what will happen to them tomorrow if we don't have a good deal for them too. And this is a really important matter for us here in the European Parliament.
And Anna, the Spanish government, they were saying that they were not briefed on this. Is there a feeling that this was just rammed through without really taking into account the rest of the concerns?
What it happened that is there was this article 184 that appeared at the very last minute. It was not negotiated before, it was not seen before, so the Spanish government just discovered it after the text was given to everyone.
Article 184 says it's a negotiation between the UK and the EU, not Spain and the UK.
Yeah, and it's based on good faith. Right. And Spain don't want good faith. They want the certainty, the legal certainty that this is going to be like that.
This goes for the fish question also, because in the very last minute they have a very few sentences in the draft text about the fishing industry and the future deal on fish, because So many complicated things have to be dealt with.
So is there something in the way that it was negotiated by the negotiators that didn't feel quite right?
No, I can't say that. Just say that they have so many difficulties to get the divorce deal in order and to get it through, that all these future questions which should have been dealt with already are not dealt with. So they kick the can down the street.
So what do we do now? So if it's kicking it down the road, then it's going to come up.
Yeah,
again.
It will, and it will be a hard question. I mean, I just had a briefing with my embassy yesterday, and these guys, they are very close to negotiations. They told me that this is going to be a very, very hard question because this is a key point for the British. Yeah. I mean, they have promised the British fishermen that this will be all right, that anyone would have to get out of their fishing waters, and they can't deliver on that if they want to have a deal with us.
I mean, there's more because you have fish, goods, Gibraltar. There's actually more because we've heard objections from all those countries. European countries are not the only ones watching Brexit. The Brexit negotiations. Obviously, the people of Scotland, they're also paying very, very close attention to this, especially after some comments from Spain. Let's take a look. Welcome to Scotland, the UK's most northerly nation with a strong identity and an active independence movement. In 2014, Scots rejected separation from the rest of the UK, much to the relief of London. It was thought that Madrid, worried about its secessionist movement in Catalonia, might block an independent Scotland's entry into the EU. But 4 years later, and things have changed. With the UK government burning its bridges with EU allies over Brexit, Spain's new socialist government is striking a different tone. If Westminster agrees, why should we be against it? The country's foreign minister has asked. He went on to fire a shot at London, suggesting that the UK will split apart before Spain. This will come as welcome news to the Scottish nationalist leader.
The impact of Brexit on everybody in our country is going to be disastrous, and that's why I have a duty to allow people the choice to opt for something better.
Though it's the last thing the UK Prime Minister will want to hear as she battles to deliver Brexit while keeping the United Kingdom together. But could Spain be overinflating the appetite for Scottish independence? A poll published this week found that 60% of Scots would vote to remain in the UK if they were asked. But with Brexit on the horizon, public opinion in Scotland may yet shift in favour of an independent future. So it's another twist to the Brexit story. Christine, you were smiling at the footage.
Yeah, because, well, we are laughing here, but it's really not funny. And the Brexit is a lose-lose vote. And we all have to take into account and sometimes to smile just to, we don't know where we are going to, but there is still a lot of steps to take. And the first one will be very important is the vote in London next month. This is maybe it will be a no deal because the House will say no. So we don't know.